Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're going to do something just a little bit different. We're taking a super mundane, everyday action, sharing a link, and we're literally putting it right under the microscope. We copy and paste strings of text like this, dozens of times a day, and we never give it a second thought. But what if I told you that a single string of text contains this massive, hidden world of internet mechanics? We're going to completely deconstruct this exact link, piece by piece, to reveal the incredible architecture hiding right beneath your cursor. Okay. Let's dive into this. It's a really simple question, right? But it fundamentally shifts how we look at our digital lives. When you shoot a funny video to a friend or share some insightful post, you probably just think of that link as a digital magic wand. You click it, boom, you get what you want. But that text, it's not just a button. It's actually a highly specific set of instructions, a completely unique identifier, and, a lot of the time, a silent tracker, all just rolled into one. I promise you, by the end of this explainer, you're never going to look at a copied web address the same way again. So look at this exact 55-character string. To the untrained eye, sure, it looks like a totally random jumble of letters, numbers, symbols, kind of like someone just mashed their hands on a keyboard. But in the world of computer science and web architecture, there is absolutely zero randomness here. Literally every single character in the sequence has a highly specific job to do. And to understand how it works, we really need to stop looking at it as just one long word and start looking at it as this finely tuned machine. All right, Section 1, the Universal Digital Specimen. Let's lay down some foundational groundwork. At its very core, our 55-character specimen is a URL. That stands for Uniform Resource Locator. Think of it like the absolute GPS coordinate for the internet. Just like your physical house has a country, a state, a city, a street, and a house number, to make sure the Postal Service knows exactly where to drop off a letter, a URL provides the exact logical pathway for your web browser. It tells it how to locate one specific file on a server sitting anywhere in the world. It is basically the ultimate digital address. Now, what's really interesting about this is how neatly this seemingly chaotic string of text separates out into three distinct, highly functional pieces. We've got this compound structure made up of the domain, which is youtube.be, the identifier, which is ndpj0tr0im0, and the parameter, which is that psi equals tru0f0avnblc mpa at the end. By breaking it apart like this, the chaos instantly becomes structured logic. So let's analyze that very first column. Moving on to Section 2, decoding the shortened domain. This is where that initial routing happens. Right at the front, we have youtube.be. This is essentially our digital postal service. Before your computer can actually find the specific video you want to watch, it first needs to know which massive data warehouse it's supposed to drive to. This domain tells your browser's navigation system to just head straight to Google's video servers. It dictates the primary destination of your click. What? You might actually be noticing something a little strange about the spelling here. Yeah, you're probably used to the standard full domain, right? youtube.com. But our specimen uses the sleeker youtube.be. So why the difference? Well, back in the early days of social media platforms, think early Twitter, strict character limits made sharing super long web addresses incredibly frustrating. So to solve this, companies went out and purchased custom shortened domains. They chopped out the .com entirely and used a country code top-level domain, in this specific case, .be for Belgium, to create a much shorter, sleeker, highly shareable link that routes you to the exact same place. Which brings us to Section 3, the unique video identifier. Let's explore the database architecture a bit. Okay, so if the domain was the massive warehouse, this middle string right here, ndpjt00im0, is the exact aisle, the shelf, and the specific box number where your video is stored. This is the asset ID. Out of the, countless hours of media uploaded every single minute to the platform, this exact arrangement of characters ensures your browser pulls up the exact video you intended, without fail. And I really want to emphasize a single number here, 11. If you actually count the characters in our asset ID, you're going to find it is exactly 11 characters long. And that length, definitely not an accident. It wasn't just chosen because it looks nice. It was carefully, deliberately chosen by engineers based on the mathematical laws of permutations. They needed to ensure that the platform would practically never run out of unique addresses for all that new content. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that math works. By using a system that allows for lowercase letters, uppercase letters, numbers, and specific symbols like an underscore or a hyphen, you end up with a massive pool of character options for each of those 11 slots. By mixing all these different character types in just an 11-space limit,
The system creates roughly 73 quintillion possible combinations. That staggering, massive scale means they can assign a unique 11-character string to every single video ever uploaded forever without ever duplicating an ID. Honestly, it's a masterpiece of digital efficiency.
All right, shifting gears a bit for Section 4, invisible trackers and parameters. We're looking at the unseen ecosystem now.
Now, I want to direct your attention to everything that follows the question mark. Take a look at question mark psi equals TRU0F0AV NBLC MPA. It looks entirely different from the 11-character video ID we were just looking at, right? It almost looks like a completely different language just tacked on to the end of our address. And, well, functionally, it kind of is.
This final section is called a query string. As defined here, a query string is a set of parameters attached to the end of a URL to pass specific data back to a server. And that question mark you see at the very beginning, that is literally a command boundary. It's basically yelling at the web browser, hey, stop reading this as an address of where to go, and start reading the following text as extra data to log and report. It completely changes the fundamental behavior of the link.
Let's isolate just these 3 characters, right after the question mark, SI. In the context of this specific URL architecture, SI stands for Source Identifier. Everything that follows the equal sign is this unique alphanumeric token that silently passes tracking data right back to the platform. It logs information about where the link was generated, exactly how it was shared, and it connects your viewing session back to the person who originally clicked the share button. It's basically a digital fingerprint of your social interaction.
So, the crucial point is this. If you take the base link ending in that 11-character ID and paste it in, the video plays perfectly. If you use the tracked link with the psi equals parameter, the video also plays perfectly. To you, the viewer, the experience is literally identical. But to the servers hosting the content, that tracked link is actively tracking your share session. It's quietly mapping out this massive graph of who is influencing whom across the internet, all completely behind the scenes.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, the power of a link. Let's look at this whole micro-topic through a macro lens. Let's move to and see exactly how this builds a complete chronological journey triggered in the mere milliseconds after you click. So, Step 1. The shortened domain youtube.b successfully routes your browser to the correct corporate servers. Step 2. That 11-character identifier ndpjt0_im0 mathematically zeroes in on one specific file out of billions and pulls the exact media asset to your screen. And Step 3, the query string, starting with psi equals, quietly executes in the background, logging your source data and feeding the platform's engagement metrics. 3 completely different mechanical processes, executing flawlessly, all hidden inside one little string of text. We take the architecture of the web for granted, mostly because, well, it's designed to be invisible. But as we've uncovered today, there is just this profound engineering, math, and data collection baked into the most mundane actions we take online. A link is never just a link. It's a meticulously crafted vehicle for data. Which leaves us with one final kind of lingering thought to consider. Next time you highlight, copy, and share a link with a friend, who is really tracking who? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep questioning the digital world right in front of you.